Hi Andy, this is Dr. P. Ravikiran, General Physician and Diabetologist at Honors Robotics Hospital, Champapat. As a part of patient awareness program, today we will discuss why Indians are more prone to diabetes. What's the scientific explanation for all these things? India is now the diabetes capital of the world. What's the reason why we are the diabetes capital of the world? Let's know in the next few slides. Why this topic matters. India is the diabetes capital of the world. Indians develop diabetes 10 to 15 years earlier than the Western counterparts. Even though the Western counterparts eat a lot of meat, red meat, and all sorts of non-veg, we are having a propensity to develop diabetes at least 10 to 15 years prior to them. We get the complications more faster and more severe. The rate of diabetic foot complications, the rate of diabetic neuropathy, cardiopathies, all those complications are more higher in the Indian subgroup, in the Indian subcontinent than the Western counterparts. Understanding the why helps us prevent diabetes and helps us educate diabetes against diabetes and lead a healthier and happy life. Diabetes in India, key facts. When the country with a population of 140 crores becomes the diabetes capital of the world, nearly 100 million population in our country live with diabetes, which is one of the most dangerous and sad thing that nearly more than 1 crore population, more than 30% of the population are pre-diabetic and 100 million are diabetic. Over 136 million are pre-diabetes. Every 1 in 4 adults have abnormal sugars. Every 1 in 4 persons have abnormal sugars. See the numbers. Those are very alarming and very tragic because those numbers will reduce our lifespan, will make sure that we are not living up to our normal extent. Heart diseases, kidney failure, and stroke risk is 2 to 4 times higher in Indians than their Western counterparts. The root cause, the Indian phenotype. Indians have a unique body type that increases the risk. We have a lower muscle mass, lower height, higher fat percent despite being normal weight. That implies when a person of Western origin and Indian origin both are of 70 kilos weight, the percentage of fat in our bodies is more than the percentage of fats present in the Western counterparts. That implies that higher fat percent despite being normal weight, more belly fat, central obesity, also called as truncal obesity. This is one of the most alarming things. The higher the belly fat, the higher the insulin resistance, the higher the problems. Higher insulin resistance naturally occurs secondary because of the central obesity. Visceral fat, where the fat is deposited around the organs. Whenever the fat gets deposited around the liver, it's called as fatty liver. Whenever the fat gets deposited around the pancreas, that could be a cause for diabetes. So lipotoxicity, glucotoxicity are more common in our population. Even a person who looks thin may have a dangerous fat distribution. This is one of the most common cause for higher mortality in our Indian counterparts. Genetics. There is a theory which puts forward why we are more prone to diabetes. The thrifty gene theory. The Indians carry genetic traits passed down from ancestors who survived famines because where there were a lot of water out, there was a food scarcity. The bodies have been habituated to famines and starvation. So whenever we come out of the starvation and we bulk ourselves more with carbohydrates, that causes us more diabetic complications. Thrifty genes stores fat easily, conserves energy. Useful during starvation, harmful with modern diet. In this modern era where there is no deficit food calories, this is more harmful. Results: the person gains weight quickly, high insulin response, faster beta cell exhaustion, and high diabetes risk even with small weight gain. Low muscle mass, high insulin resistance. Muscles use up 80% of the glucose after meals. Muscles are also called as glucose sink because they utilize the maximum amount of glucose that the person consumes. Indians have lower skeletal muscle mass, lower muscle quality, lower lean body mass, even in athletes. Whenever our athletes are compared to the Western counterparts, the low body mass, lean body mass is lower in our athletes than compared to the others. The outcome is higher sugar levels, more insulin resistance, and earlier onset diabetes. In view of all these things, exercise becomes very crucial. That's why an exercising individual is more healthier than the person who doesn't exercise. Body fat pattern unique to Indians. We have a specific tendencies to accumulate our body fat in specific vital organs. We accumulate fat in our liver, which causes fatty liver, around the pancreas, which causes us diabetes, around the muscles, which causes all the flabby muscles and the fat of the fat conditions, and in the abdomen, over the abdomen, visceral fat. This fat type blocks insulin action, unlike the subcutaneous fat seen in Europeans. Europeans have a lot of subcutaneous fat, where the fat tissue below the skin has the maximum expansion. In Indians, that's not the case. The fat accumulates around the vital organs, preventing the vital organs from functioning normally, which causes more complications. So even a small belly fat has a big metabolic risk in Indians. Diet pattern. This is one of the culprit. Diet pattern: high carbs, low protein. Indian diets, majority of the times, this is the very saddest part, where 65 to 75% of our calories come from carbohydrates, which includes the highly processed food like white rice, chapati, idli, dosa, upma. With adding to that, we have high amounts of carbs in the form of sugars and teas, low protein intake, and high post-meal sugar spike. These all above conditions overload our beta cells, which leads to insulin resistance and which in turn causes diabetes. What I would like to put on some light is, we are developing these issues secondary to the change in lifestyle. Initially, our ancestors or our grandfathers, they had to walk long distances for their work or for their daily activities. Therefore, they had the requirement of high carbohydrates. But as we had a change in lifestyle, it's high time we change our diet from high carbohydrate to low carbohydrate and low protein to high protein. Because in the limited lifestyle and the limited lifespan we have very less physical activity. There is no need for high carbohydrate diet in this lifestyle, in this type of lifestyle, whereas our ancestors had a completely different lifestyle. Therefore the diet was suited for them, and it's not suited for us now. So please remember, carb culture in India. Always remember, these portions were developed when we had a bit different lifestyle. When there was a lot of physical activities, when there was a lot of walking, there was a lot of physical exercise, there was a lot of labor work. That was the time when this diet was proper. Our traditional ways like rice being the central, rotis in large portion, breakfast often carb heavy. These were all meant for the previous year's lifestyle. Yesteryear's lifestyle, where we used to have a lot of physical activity. But now, with the lack of physical activity, these things we change for us to have a better life. Where festivals include sweets, snacks includes fried carbs. These are all okay in the initial days, in the years when there was no urbanization. Secondly to this, there are high blood sugar spikes, weight gain, and beta cell burnout. Sedentary lifestyle. This is the major culprit in our lifestyles, in our day-to-day activities. Sedentary lifestyle with lack of zero physical activity, no physical activity leads to much more complications. Modern Indian lifestyle, which includes sitting jobs, less walking, no strength training, long office hours, urbanization reduces physical activity. So less movement, less glucose used, high insulin resistance, followed by high carbohydrate. That's a combination for disaster. Sedentary lifestyle with high carbohydrate is the worst combination that can ever happen, and it's happening to our population, which is causing us the massive spike in diabetes. Stress and sleep patterns. Indians have one of the highest stress levels globally. Secondly to our working conditions, our financial status, or all those things, we have the highest stress levels globally. Long working hours, financial pressure, family responsibilities, which in turn combined with poor sleep of 5 to 6 hours a day, is a disaster, is a combination of disaster. Increased Whenever a person is under stress, there are certain chemicals in the body like cortisol, which are also called as stress hormones, increase in the body, which is a steroid hormone. This in turn leads to increased sugar, increased appetite, increased belly fat, and increased diabetes risk. Once you enter the negative vicious cycle, there is no coming back. Once you develop high cortisol levels, which leads to high sugar leads to increased appetite, and so on and so on and so forth. This cycle keeps on continuously till you develop over diabetes. Beta cell weakness in Indians. As such, the Indian population has a weaker beta cells, probably secondary to the lifestyles we led, probably the activities we had, probably the history from which we have passed to the famines and etc., the starvation, etc. Our beta cells are not so active as that in the Western counterpart. So Indians have lower insulin production capacity, faster beta cell exhaustion, and more prone to second phase insulin failure second phase insulin failure. If you want to know more about second phase insulin secretion, please watch our previous webinar where we described about the role of pancreas in insulin secretion. This makes diabetes occur earlier and progress faster than in the other ethnic groups. Childhood obesity and early onset diabetes. This is one of the alarming and sad things which is happening in our country. Now the trends have been changing. We are developing diabetes even more younger than the Western counterparts. The mean average age has been coming down day by day, and even childhood diabetes, childhood obesity has become very common. This is secondary to the children eating high sugars and high fat food, which is causing them to gain weight. Although, along with the high carbohydrate diet, no outdoor games, excess screen time, and sugary drinks like school drinks, all the fruit juices, etc., lead to them having childhood obesity and also causing them diabetes in the younger age. Result, pre-diabetes is now seen in 12 to 18 years old. Even as young as 12 to 18 years, children are having pre-diabetes, which is a very bad thing. Apart from that, PCOS in teenage girls, type 2 diabetes appearing in their 20s. Apart from the diet and lifestyle, there are some other mistakes in our cooking habits in our diet, which is leading us to have more diabetes. One major thing is Indian cooking methods. Our common cooking methods, which were meant for the old timers, where yesteryears where there was a lot of physical work, these cooking habits were meant for those times, and now we are using those activities without changing the lifestyle. The first thing is, and also we are doing deep frying, reheating oils, using highly refined flours, sweetened beverages. All these artificial and processed foods will increase our risk for diabetes. Environmental and urban factors increases stress, pollution increases inflammation, more stressful works, more stressful conditions. The fast food availability, which is making us more lazy and making us order fast food, which is having high processed food. All these factors lead to environmental and factors lead to diabetes. Family history and heredity. Always remember, if one parent has diabetes, the children have a 40% risk of developing diabetes. If both parents have diabetes, If both parents have diabetes, the risk jumps to 70 to 80% of the risk. If siblings are affected, very high lifetime risk. So make sure whenever your close immediate family has a risk of diabetes, make sure you are active, make sure you are mobilizing, and make sure that you control your diabetes. Cultural barriers to prevention. Sugar is normal. Whenever we see a person having diabetes, it has become so common in the community that, yeah, it's okay. Sugar has been starting to affect our country faster. I know many people who have diabetes, so you have nothing to worry. Maintain the diet, maintain the lifestyle. It's sufficient. These are the patterns how the people keep talking. Whenever the condition is normalized, the people lose the fear of the condition. People lose the importance to that condition. So always remember, avoid this attitude. Avoid the attitude of sugar is normal. Also, there are many things like they develop in the fear for insulin, late health checkups, preventing self-health checkups, doing self-medication, social pressure to eat more. Whenever a person gains weight, there is no resistance to that person. But whenever a person tries to lose the weight, there's a lot of questioning, lot of discussion happening around that. So we are not trained to be stay happy, healthy. Why Indians are at highest? Indian phenotype, genetic predisposition, high carbohydrate diet, sedentary lifestyle, stress and sleep deprivation, beta cell weakness, rapid urbanization, and family history. These are the 8 factors which put Indians at high risk of diabetes. What Indians can do to prevent diabetes? The first thing is reduce carbohydrates by 20 to 30%, which is possible through structured diet charts, which we at Honest Robotics Hospital provided free of cost. Increase protein intake. Make sure there is daily walking plus strength training. Better sleep routine. Stress reduction techniques like breathing exercises. Routine regular blood tests, which are now available at low cost, can help us identify the sugars. Also maintain ideal waist size. Men less than 90 centimeters, women less than 80 centimeters. If we do all these proper things, we can make sure that we can reverse the diabetes. Even a weight loss of at least 10% can make sure that we reverse our diabetes. Always remember, early detection and lifestyle changes can completely prevent diabetes in the most Indian families. There is a need for a proper guidance and diabetes reversal program. There's a need for a diabetes reversal program. We at Onus Robotics Hospital provide you a diabetes reversal program where you can reverse your diabetes without any need for medications. Visit Onus Robotics Hospital, Champapet for complete diabetes reversal. This is Dr. P. Ravikiran, your general physician and preventive medicine specialist from Onus Hospitals, signing off. Thank you.